set. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is an incredible display of poison that has been plaguing our towns, our villages, our counties, our cities for as far back as anybody could remember. But now we've come to a fork in the road, I think. So I want to just read my remarks, and then I'm going to introduce the people who were responsible for this amazing takedown. Just first, let me say I'm joined here and honored to be with Superintendent New York State Police Stephen James to my left, DEA Special Agent in Charge Frank Tarantino to my right. Thank you for hosting. FBI Special Agent in Charge Craig Tremaroli to my left. And we're joined here by all of the other agencies that were involved and will be continuing to be involved in this case. So this is the announcement of the largest takedown in New York City-based drug trafficking in probably 30 years. This ring distributed drugs across upstate New York. This was the result of an 18-month investigation and close collaboration among federal, state, local enforcement agencies. On June 12, 2025, law enforcement conducted a series of searches and arrests in this district, the Western District, the Eastern District, and the Southern Districts of New York. We also hit the District of New Jersey. Law enforcement also arrested one individual in Pennsylvania and another individual in Atlanta, Georgia. In total, 13 people were arrested and have been charged, and 24 locations were searched. The organization's leaders, including Samir Abdelhak, Abdelhak, age 35, of Fresh Meadows, Queens, have been ordered detained pending trial. The charges in the complaint are only allegations. The defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty. The result of the operation on June 12th, which can be partially seen in this room, was close to 250 kilos of cocaine, 10,000 fentanyl pills, and over the course of the investigation, which lasted 18 months, another 240 kilos of cocaine, 185 pounds of methamphetamine, and 700 pounds of marijuana. These are big numbers. The street value of cocaine alone is above $15 million. This is one of the largest conspiracies ever charged in the Northern District of New York, and required hard work and cooperation of a host of law enforcement agencies, which I want to recognize now. First off, New York State Police, in particular Troop G, but also Troops B, E, F, and I, and the Special Investigations Unit in Valhalla, and the Drug Enforcement Task Force. DEA in Albany, Plattsburgh, Rochester, and Syracuse. FBI Albany Safe Streets Task Force. Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigations. Police departments in Colony, Elmira, Discayuna, Schenectady, Gloversville, Johnstown, and Amsterdam. Sheriff's offices in Fulton and Montgomery counties. The Sullivan County DA's office, U.S. Customs Border Protection. I'd also like to thank the U.S. Attorney's offices in the Southern District of New York, the Eastern District of New York, the Western District of New York, District of New Jersey, and the Northern District of Georgia for helping us conduct this operation, obtain search warrants, and process arrested individuals. This operation had very small beginnings. On December 21st, 2023, the New York State Police searched a suspected stash house located in Niskayuna. They found drug paraphernalia and less than 1 gram of cocaine. State, federal, local law enforcement ran with this from that 1 gram in December of 2023, and now we've seized almost half a ton of cocaine and stopped a massive smuggling operation. The co-conspirators imported drugs into California and drove them in 18-wheelers across the country, often concealed in household appliances like freezers. The drugs then ended up in New York City, were held in multiple stash houses on Long Island, and distributed upstate. The conspirators also operated a large marijuana farm in California. Co-conspirators were highly sophisticated. To make their activities possible and to rent the facilities they needed, they created fraudulent documents from shell companies that made them look as if they were legitimate businesses with legitimate income. They laundered their money in various ways, including a fraudulent car dealership in New Jersey and a, quote, consulting, end quote, business that offered advice on everything from, quote, organic dieting, end quote, to exotic snake care. This case demonstrates the federal government's commitment to taking back our communities from the criminal organizations that have proliferated in recent years, thanks to weak state laws and even weaker state legislators from New York City who'd rather advocate for criminals than their law-abiding constituents. We are cleaning up their mess. Our communities are safer with this drug trafficking ring dismantled and its members facing decades in federal prison. This time, I'd like to turn this over to the State Police Superintendent James.
Thank you, U.S. Attorney Sarcone. Good afternoon. Today's announcement is a result of an 18-month-long investigation, as the U.S. Attorney said, with a single lead beginning in Troop G in December of 2023, which started as a narcotics case in the Capital Region, quickly grew into a large-scale multi-state operation, ultimately uncovering sophisticated drug trafficking, a network connecting, as the U.S. Attorney said, from New Jersey through New York City and Lake Placid, far-reaching. The scope of the case, without a doubt, is significant, as evidenced by the drug evidence placed here. Prior to last week's takedown, investigators did seize in excess of several hundred pounds of cocaine, 187 pounds of methamphetamine. June 12th, there was a follow-up. That also resulted in seizures of product, all of which you see here. I won't reiterate the amount, but know that this case is a clear demonstration of what can be achieved through federal, state, and local law enforcement officers working together. I certainly want to personally thank the DEA, Special Agent in Charge Frank Tarantino, and also Craig Turamoli, the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Albany office. Their tireless efforts, along with the U.S. Attorney's Office, certainly, and local law enforcement officials help make this come together. The New York State Police, we certainly remain committed to dismantling large-scale drug trafficking operations and targeting the individuals and organizations that threaten the safety of all of our communities. These arrests are the result of month-long surveillances, intelligence gathering, and carefully coordinated enforcement actions. They represent a strong, unified response to those who attempt to profit off addiction and criminal enterprises. To the public, I say just know this: we will continue to pursue and disrupt those trafficking operators within communities. And obviously today is a clear message of what we can do when we cooperate and when we respond together, and certainly we will hold all of those accountable. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Frank Tarantino, DEA Special Agent in Charge.
Good afternoon. My name is Frank Tarantino. I'm the Special Agent in charge of the Drug Enforcement Administration's New York Division. I would like to first thank United States Attorney John Sarcone and my fellow law enforcement partners standing alongside me, FBI Albany SAC Craig Tremoroli, and New York State Police Superintendent Stephen James, as well as our men and women in the field, as we work together to keep this city, our state, and the United States of America safer and healthier. Thank you for joining us today as we announce the tremendous success and impact of an 18-month-long investigation by the DEA, the FBI, the New York State Police, and the United States Attorney's Office, Northern District of New York, to identify, target, and eliminate a wholesale distribution network of illicit narcotics supplied by the Sinaloa cartel. The investigation into Samir Abdul Haq demonstrates DEA's unwavering commitment to eliminating the most significant drug trafficking organizations and drug traffickers responsible for causing the most harm in our communities. The Abdul Haq network was responsible for supplying massive amounts of cocaine, methamphetamine, meth, fentanyl, and fake Xanax pills, as well as marijuana, to customers throughout New York and the Northeast Corridor, including many of our most vulnerable, our children. This investigation is strategic and targeted, focused on removing major drug threats, specifically the significant rise in cocaine on our streets. In just 3 massive seizures dating from November of 2024, we seized approximately 482 kilograms of cocaine, 187 pounds of methamphetamine, nearly 100,000 meth, fentanyl, and fake Xanax pills, 956 pounds of marijuana, $1.2 million in bulk cash, and over $2 million in assets. It is evident through this investigation seizures that this 21st century drug trafficking organization is involved in a poly-trafficking business. Rarely do we see today's criminal drug trafficking organizations involved in wholesale distribution of just cocaine, or just meth, or just heroin. Today's criminal drug trafficking organizations distribute several different types of illicit narcotics, to include fentanyl, the most dangerous and highly addicting synthetic opioid ever made. It is absolutely clear that this predatory criminal drug network, like so many others, was driven by profit and greed. The DEA's mission is to save lives, and in this investigation, we removed over a half a ton of cocaine and approximately 5,000 potential lethal doses of fentanyl from our communities. This undoubtedly saved lives. I leave you, the audience, the people at home watching, with 3 important messages. To the hardworking New Yorkers, know that the DEA and our law enforcement partners, some of who are standing up here with me today, are doing everything we can to keep our communities safer and healthier. To the parents, educators, and caregivers, we are in the midst of an ever-changing, complex, and dynamic illicit drug landscape of synthetic opioids that are more readily available, more powerful, highly addicting, and deadlier than ever before. Fentanyl is being mixed in all drugs, in all shapes and forms, and many victims are being poisoned because they are unknowingly ingesting a lethal dose of fentanyl. This is a different drug market where drugs are laced and lethal, and just one pill can kill. And finally, a message to our drug trafficking organizations and drug traffickers. The DEA is laser focused and committed. In fact, we are doubling down on our efforts to relentlessly pursue those who are causing the most harm in our communities. And we will continue to fight forward with our law enforcement partners, not just with a whole-of-government approach, rather with a whole-of-government commitment to eliminate those responsible for supplying fentanyl and other dangerous drugs that are causing record overdoses and poisonings nationwide. It is with this tough work and vital mission that we strive to bring a measure of peace, safety, and security to our people and our communities that we so faithfully and honorably serve. We ask you to join us in this fight to save lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank. Before I introduce our FBI agent in charge, I wanted to recognize that our district attorney has joined us from Albany County, Lee Kinlan, who's been a tremendous partner with these law enforcement agencies and with my office as well. And I also want to recognize and thank the leadership team led by Cyrus Reek for taking this case and guiding law enforcement and how to get this operation shut down. So I want to say thank you, Cyrus. I'm going to turn it over to Craig Tremaroli, who is the Special Agent in charge of the FBI Field Office in Albany. Thank you.
Thank you, United States Attorney Sarcone, and thank you all for being here today. Hopefully the lights come back on here. All right, hopefully we haven't lost power. Listen, we're all here today for this impressive announcement. It's important for our communities to see how the partnerships you see here today are working together to remove dangerous drugs from our communities. I want to begin with a huge thanks to our partners, all seen here today and behind the screens. United States Attorney John Sarcone and his entire team, who worked tirelessly to secure warrants for each of the 24 locations we hit, which span numerous judicial districts in 4 different states. The New York State Police, who continue to be an invaluable partner to our agency, not just in this massive takedown, but on quite literally every task force within our office. The IRS Criminal Investigative Division provided critical assistance with the tremendous amounts of cash seized throughout all of the locations a few weeks ago. And to our partners at the DEA for not just their tremendous teamwork in this takedown, but also for hosting us today so the community could see the truly staggering amount of drugs that we together removed from our communities through this joint operation. I also want to mention there are numerous local and county departments throughout our area that played a substantial role in helping us get this investigation to this point. Through close coordination, intelligence sharing, and vital partnerships on our task forces, to include the FBI's Safe Streets Task Force, we're standing here today to announce the successful takedown of a cross-country drug trafficking ring that was bringing a remarkable amount of drugs into our region. This network's reach was expansive, moving drugs from California to sell in communities within the capital region, North Country, Central and Western New York, as well as New York City. But the reach of our federal task forces are deeper, and these 13 individuals learned the hard way that the FBI, together with our law enforcement partners, will not stand idly by while criminals peddle drugs on our streets. I want to be clear. Every subject we were looking for was found and arrested in this operation, and they are now facing serious federal charges. That's what happens when law enforcement works together and pools the resources necessary to have impactful results. Individually, our agencies are strong, but together, we deliver justice on a far larger scale. The scope and magnitude of this operation is obvious. To anyone looking at their narcotics and cash seized here on this table, they realize the real success is truly immeasurable. Nearly 500 kilos of cocaine and nearly 100,000 pills, of which 10,000 were dangerous fentanyl pills, will never make it to our communities. Countless overdoses were likely prevented through this operation, and we're not done. Our community should feel safer today, and any other criminal looking to traffic dangerous drugs into the Northern District of New York should be on notice. The FBI, together with our partners, remains steadfast in our goals of eradicating drugs and violent crime from our communities. And we will use every resource available to identify, investigate, and bring to justice any other organization looking to threaten the safety and security of our communities through the sale of illicit narcotics. Thank you all again for being here. I'll turn it back over to the United States Attorney, John Sarcone.
Thank you very much, Greg. With that, open it up for questions.
Good afternoon. This question might be for Superintendent James, because you said that this originally started as a Troop G investigation in December 2023 at a suspected stash house in Niskayuna. How did it grow from that to this?
I would say this, it suffice it to say, it did start out as a lead, but there are facets of this investigation that still may not be complete. So at this time, I decline to really go into that. Other than there were leads, we reached out to obviously the FBI, DEA, part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, developed leads, and it grew at that point. Okay.
Is this everything?
Can you identify yourself, please?
Ken from Channel 10.
I can.
Is this everything, or is this just a sampling? And how big would it will be filled with other narcotics?
Yeah, good afternoon. No, this is just from the June 12th operation. The other seizures are pictured in the board to your right, my left. There's almost 250 kilograms of cocaine in the bottom picture and 187 pounds of methamphetamine in the top picture.
Yes.
And
Well, the process unfolds as they have been charged. The courts will hear motions, and hopefully we'll either get to trial or we'll get to a point where we can resolve it. But nobody's going to be unprosecuted, let's put it that way. But it's begun in earnest on that day, that 12th. Yes?
Anthony Gronkowski with News 10. Could somebody speak to me about what other assets are involved, whether cars or property or whatever else that obviously is the same
Yeah, I mean,
The vehicles. Yeah, there were 7 vehicles, tractor trailer that was involved as well. There was a 9mm weapon involved, as well in that regard. And obviously, the drugs were the most substantial part of it.
Yeah. And we're looking into seizing the property where the marijuana farm is as well.
If you don't mind for a follow-up, where in the area, what area is this property in? Marijuana farm?
I'm not liberty to disclose that.
Of the 13 people arrested, are any of them from the capital region?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you know how many?
Well, I think we sent out in the press release the names and the locations of where they came from. I mean,
Previous was sent out a press release about
Thank you.
yeah.
Is that the house in this unit?
I think we mentioned a property in Trout.
House started,
I don't think that house is separate. That being said, thank you all very much. Please let us know if you have any other comments or questions. Can we use some off topics? Well, no.
here it comes.
That could be a while. That could be a while.